Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okelo, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Thank you so much, Sahara, for joining me for today's daily African Proverbs. It's Monday, 6:03 here in Seattle, Washington, and I am truly excited for today's conversation here in the African Father in America podcast and also club on Clubhouse. I am excited for today's conversation, especially because it's centered around friendship. So before we begin, I just want to encourage you, if you are on the Clubhouse room, please ping in 1 to 2 people to join us for this amazing conversation. And I also want to pin the link to this conversation. I am having this conversation on YouTube as well, so I would love for you to join me there on YouTube, so that we can build the village on that side as well. I love bringing the African Father in America podcast to you Monday to Friday, and every Monday to Friday we dissect different African proverbs. And through these proverbs, we are not only able to, preserve our culture, but we are also able to, bring conversations that were had by our ancestors long before we were around into the present times. So I first want to quickly just say hello to Queen, who is in the audience, Lucy and Sarah and Stella. Thank you for joining. And Steve, thank you again for joining. Please feel free to join us on the stage if you are in the audience. I'll just ping you all in to join us. As we continue on, in the daily African Proverb session for today, we want to explore this proverb from Madagascar. The proverb says, "Sorrow is like a precious treasure shown only to friends." This proverb is also my latest Instagram post. Please tap in with me on Instagram and leave a comment over there at Okelo Javan is my Instagram handle. The proverb says, "Sorrow is like a precious treasure shown only to friends." We all know that friendship is very, very important to us. There are friendships that begin at childhood. There are friendships that begin as adults, when we are adults, when we're in college, at our places of work, we build new friendships there. But also we know that friendship is also very, very complicated, and it's always hard for us to put a finger on, why is something so good also so complicated. So the complexity of friendship happens especially when when we are in moments of difficulty, where we are going through a very hard time, and we were expecting that our friends would actually be with us. Our friends would stand with us. Our friends would support us in those moments where we needed them the most. So today in the episode of the African Father in America podcast today, we are going to explore the power of friendship, from the science of why friends make us happy to the ways that friendship can also help us with healing ourselves emotionally. We are going to share 6 takeaways that I hope you can take away with you as you head into your week, your day, or your night, because some of us here are in Kenya and other parts of Africa where it's already evening, while we're just waking up here in Seattle, Washington. So before we begin, I want to encourage you to make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is African Father in America Podcast, and I would love for you to press the notification bell button on YouTube, so that when I am live streaming tomorrow and the day after tomorrow and the days to come, you can be one of the first people to be notified. So again, our conversation today is centered around a proverb all the way from Madagascar that says, sorrow is like a precious treasure shown only to friends. As many of you already know, I'm a father of 3 amazing girls, and many times there are things that there are things that I want them to know. There are things that I share with them, but there are things that I don't feel that they're ready for yet, because the friendship I have with them requires me to behave in a certain way, or to expose them to certain things. So what this proverb for me, and also giving the example of my own relationship or friendship with my daughters, what it's telling me is that even though sometimes I protect them from my emotional issues and things that I know I do not need to expose them to, there is a certain level of emotion that I do need to expose them to. But I feel that I grew up in an environment where men were expected to be tough, and we were expected to be even tougher when we were around women and around children. We were expected to show that, we were unbreakable. And so for me, just looking at this proverb from Madagascar, it reminds me so much of some of the work I need to do in order for me to benefit, not only now as a father, but later on. I feel that I need to cultivate a more emotional and a more grounded relationship with my daughters. But there are also a few nuggets of wisdom here that I want to share with you that my team prepared before our session today. So take a notebook and write this down, and also prepare your own perspective on today's proverb. How is it that friendship has helped you heal? Do you have an example of that you want to share with us before the end of our time together? And also, what are some of the dangers of friendships that you'd like to share with us today? So think about that. And number one, these are the takeaways. I want to share them now, and then I want you to expect to hear them towards the end of our time together. Number one here is that friends can make you happier and healthier. It's true. It's true that friends, for example, if I go back to my daughters, because I spend a lot of time with my daughters. I work from home. I'm a full-time father, and all my other gigs, anything I do it in between the time that I am not with my daughters. So you find that, because they are children, I find myself laughing a lot more, and I also find myself actually being a child, experiencing a lot of the things that I didn't experience as a child, because I started working when I was like 8 years old. I was distributing milk and bread in our neighborhood, helping my mother, who was a second wife in a polygamist marriage, but she was taking care of so many people. So because I started working when I was very, very young, I can't remember a lot of the things I did at a very tender age. I do remember a lot of the things I did as a teenager, and I feel that spending a lot of time with my 3 daughters allows me to be happier and healthier. But also, I am a part of a men's group, here in Seattle where I live. I'm a part of a men's group where, I always find myself being healthier because of the kind of men that I have surrounded myself with, the kind of things, the kind of work they do in the community challenges me to also do better. Then number 2, friends can help you through tough times. This can be true or not true, but I've had friends who have literally left the scene when I needed them the most. But I also have friends who, for example, this past weekend was the birthday of a good friend of mine. Oh, actually, it was Steve's birthday. Happy belated birthday as well, Steve. But, this friend of mine was celebrating his birthday, and in the group text where we had all these men, gathered, he was receiving a lot of love, and he's one of the people that have gone through a very, very challenging time in his life, overcoming hard drugs. He was sometime disappearing from the community for days. People are looking for him, and now he's doing so well for himself. He's working hard at his place of employment, and he's taking care of his family. So just to see him being celebrated during his birthday, I had to send him a separate text and just to tell him how he's a blessing to the community. So it's true that some friends, I wasn't there when he was overcoming the drug abuse and the challenges that he was going through, but it was another friend that I know that saw him through those times. And when we were at this other friend's wedding, is when I learned about all these stories and how, friendship and friends helped him overcome the challenges that he was going through at that time. Number 3, friends can always be there for you, And again, I feel that for me, I want to cultivate friendship with my daughters so that they can always be there for me, because I see that in my own family. I see that with my siblings. I feel that my mother somehow made me and my siblings friends. So we worked together when we were younger, and we are working together even now, and we are able to do things together. And also when we have conflicts, when we fight, we are able to solve it like friends. And then friends can make you smarter. I always look for friends that are much more advanced in something than myself. In fact, even now, majority of my friends are way older than me. Majority of my friends are way older than me, and I always seek their knowledge in order for me to get better. So friends can truly make you smarter. And then number 5, friendship is a two-way street. That is true. Whether it's the friendship between you and your partner, or you and your colleagues at work. Sometimes even if you buy somebody lunch and they never buy you lunch, you're the one who always buys the drink, they never buy you a drink, one day you'll rebel or even ask, why is it that you're the one who is always buying, and they are not giving anything? Then number 6, friendships are worth the effort. I want to say that sometime, there are some forms of friendships that are worth the effort, and there are other friendships that needs to be tested. I think much like everything else, friendships need to go through a period of testing so that is this friendship worth my time? And if it's not, after testing it for a little bit, just walk away. You don't have to have friends actually, and you can be without friends for a while, and eventually you'll find the right people that you need to have around you. Now, if you're just joining us, this is the African Father in America podcast. We are live streaming on YouTube, and I just want to make sure I check in with my friends on YouTube. I see that M. Jewel is here, and M. Jewel says that if sorrow can be viewed as precious treasure, so joy can be the same. Both emotions are genuine parts of a person, and those closest to one will be able to experience each. I love that. And Steven, who is also with us on Clubhouse and YouTube, says it's important to double check on your list of friends before sharing your state of mind with them. Wow, that's a good one. Some friends contribute more to your sorrow, while others will remain standing for you. I agree with that. Especially now, we are dealing with mental health issues, and it's not only now. We've always dealt with mental health issues, and sometimes you're experiencing something that you want someone that you truly trust to share. You're let's say you're going through a period of self-doubt. You're trying to rediscover yourself. You're questioning some of your own actions, but there are people that you talk to that they will just laugh it off. They will just laugh at your situation while you need serious response. So that's a really good one. But I do want to just welcome you all one more time, and I want to begin passing the microphone around the room and hearing what perspectives you all have to say about today's conversation. We are discussing the power of friendships, and our conversation is grounded on an African proverb from Madagascar, which says, sorrow is like a precious treasure shown only to friends. So I want to welcome you, Stella, to just share your perspectives on this proverb, share where you're joining us from. And before you do that, I would love to invite everyone in the room, just take a minute, ping in 3 to 5 people who should join us for this conversation, and also the share for the room. Please just share. I want to see just a couple more shares. Maybe we get to 15 shares, and we continue on with the conversation. So let me see the number of shares for this conversation increasing. Share it on Twitter, share it on WhatsApp, share it here on Clubhouse, and also if you're on YouTube, please make sure you're sharing the live stream as well. That's one of the biggest ways that you can support this amazing work. Thank you so much. Stella, share with us your perspectives, please.
Hi, Simon. Hi, everyone. This is Stella from Kenya. Today's proverb is so beautiful. Sorrow is like a precious treasure shown only to friends. Yeah, and if you look at your life and just try to remember the times your friends have been there for you and like literally wiped your tears and told you it will be fine. I think it really agrees with the proverb. And for me personally, I have a friend in my mom. Like we share almost everything. And I remember there's a time I was hiding something from her, and later when she realized, she felt so bad. And I was wondering, okay, so this is how deep this friendship is. So yeah, it's true that you can have true friends whom you can share uh, deep, very, very deep emotions with. And again, you have to be careful because sometimes you could be sharing with people who are not true friends, and that can make your situation worse because they can flip the whole story into a whole new thing and tell it to other people, and it doesn't come out right and it hurts you more. So you keep going in sorrow, keep drowning in sorrow. But anyway, true friends are just the best. Thank you, and I'm happy to be here.
Wow, I love that, Stella. I love that. And especially, when you shared about your relationship with your mom and how she knew that you are hiding something from her, and it wasn't very good later on when you had to share it. I feel that I experienced such a similar thing. When I lost my mom, I was super confused, and I didn't know who was going to show up in terms of my friends, and I didn't see many of my friends there, but I saw a few, and those few friends surprised me so much by their behavior. You'd see them cleaning, you'd see them there until even after the funeral. They didn't want to go. They're the people that you didn't even know were friends. That's when I discovered that your friends are not the people that are always with you. Your friends are even people that they don't show up, but they're always thinking about you. But when you need them the most is when you really, really see their true colors. and they don't need anything from you. They just need to know that you are okay. And for me, those are very difficult kinds of friends to find, especially here in the US, here in the diaspora. A lot of friends, they want to associate with you because of what you have, what you're doing, what you can do for them. But, even visiting with people here, there's a lot of thought that goes into it. There's a lot of scheduling that goes into it, So I truly, truly miss the idea of just showing up at people's door and, visiting and being friends without any conditions, without looking at what am I getting from this friendship. So I truly appreciate your perspectives. I just want to welcome Sambaza. I want to welcome Mal, Adol, Tracy, Raleigh, Jermaine, Sarah into the room. Feel free to join us on the stage. And also, I want to welcome everyone who is joining us on YouTube. I know that everyone on the stage on Clubhouse is going to have a moment to share your voices. If you are joining this session for the very first time, we do this Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And besides this live stream that is currently live on Clubhouse and YouTube, we also, distribute this content as a podcast to all podcasting platforms, and you should check it out. African Father in America podcast. Steve, how are you doing today? And share with us your perspectives on this proverb from Madagascar. It says that sorrow is like a precious treasure shown only to friends.
Hello everyone, how are you all doing? Good morning, good evening. I'm Steven, joining from Kisumu, Kenya. And today this is a very, very nice proverb to start the week with. Sorrow is like a precious treasure shown only to friends. First, if I pick it up from my post on YouTube, what I can first say, or what comes first to my mind, is something that is precious to you and is like a treasure to you. You will guide it with all your strength, all your art, and all your energy. And before you let a friend into what you are guarding, it's like you are trusted with an armory key. The armory is what holds all the ammunition and all the weapons that keeps your territory safe. So before you give somebody the key to the armory to watch over the armory for you, it must be somebody you highly trust with that key and with the content in the armory. So personally, with the past experience, we just really need to be careful with the kind of friends we keep, because not all friends are friends. And like Simon said earlier, some of these friends will come to you to tap onto what you have. After tapping what you have, you are no more friend to them. So in life, you don't need to keep too many friends to be considered to be having friends. You'd rather have one friend that is genuine to you. He'll stand for you irrespective of rain or shine. So it's sorrow moment. If you depict it from the way it sounds, it's like a sad or painful moment. But again, if you look from the positive side of sorrow, there are also good things that come out of those sorrowful moments. So to me, we just need to be cautious with the kind of people we trust with those things that we hold dearly to us, those treasures that are very precious to us. Because if you mess up with something precious to you, you might lose it for good. And back to you, Simon. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Steve. I agree. I love the analogy of an armory and how, before you share the keys to your armory, you have to vet whoever you're giving those keys to. I love that. Thank you again for your contribution and for making the time. My brother William, how are you doing today? And what are your perspectives on this proverb from Madagascar and just the current conversation about friendship and the power of it? The proverb says, sorrow is like a precious treasure shown only to friends.
Hey, Simon. I'm doing well this morning. Coming to everyone from Kenmore, Washington, northeast of Seattle. I think this proverb is very interesting. What comes to mind for me is that you need friendships and relationships, both physical and spiritual. On the physical side, you need to find people that reciprocate your energy, people that aren't drawn to you because of your achievements or what you have, people that just love you for you. And then on that spiritual side, I think, you know, God is our friend too. So you need people who will sit down with you, meditate with you, pray with you, and be open to the spiritual side of sorrow too. You need to have friends that will open up with you and meditate on things that will help you build your spirit in those times of sorrow.
I love that. I love that. Growing up, I grew up in a very spiritual environment. My mom was a church leader, my father was a church leader, and our house was like a refuge for people from the church. So whenever they were planning to go and do, to go and fast in the mountains, and for weeks they would be out there praying, I would hear all of that. And I used to admire those things. And in my mind as a little kid, I used to imagine that I would be doing such things once I become an adult. And, having a spiritual friend is so important. I miss that for sure. And I want to start cultivating friends that I can just meditate with, friends that I can just know, that I can also share my spiritual journey with. So that was really, really great. Lavender, I know that you're in listening mode today. Unless you want to say something, I'll pass you and go to Thoth. Thoth, how are you doing today, and what are your perspectives on this proverb from Madagascar? It says that sorrow is like a precious treasure shown only to friends. And I just want to hear your thoughts. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, good morning, guys. Can you hear me?
Oh yes, I hear you very well, by the way. And Thoth,
Okay.
yeah, Thoth, Thoth is a Luo word. I'm a Luo from Kenya, and I have a meaning for it, and I'm just curious as to where you're from originally, because I just love your name.
Okay, well, actually, my second name actually tells where I come from. It's Igbo, it's from West Africa, it's Nigerian. Okay, the other
Perspective. Yeah,
actually,
perfect. Listen, I totally thought that you're from South Sudan, because there are Luos in South Sudan, and Thoth in Luo means a lot, I don't know if you've heard that before. It means, a lot. There are other Luos on the stage. Just want to hear. Steve, is it accurate?
The name.
Okay, Thoth, you carry on with your thoughts on the proverb today. I just got excited because of your name.
Okay, yeah. On the proverb that says, sorrow is like a precious treasure shown only to friends. It kind of resonates with me in a whole lot of way. Because sorrow could as well be a good thing or a bad thing. Some people say sorrow may be a good thing to the heart, but it's a bad cosmetic, it's a bad makeup to your face. They say there is no wisdom. There is no wisdom in having a useless sorrow. Meaning, even when you want to be sorrowful, it has to be meaningful and have count because sorrow is easy to express and hard to tell. But one question is who understands your sorrow? You know, referring to a friend because I once read an article that says a friend is someone who listens to you when you're silent. You know, and one gift you can have as a person is to have an honest friend and honest people around you, because good friends are not the ones who make your problems go away. The real good friends are actually the ones who won't disappear when you're facing your problems. Growing up, I grew up in a large family of eight. I'm actually the last. You know, my eldest brother, God rest his soul, he used to be my best friend. Like I could always have any conversation, anything to talk to him. And he had this wisdom of the gods. He could explain anything to me in the ways that I understand, in all manners, whether being mean or being rude or being jovial. But after I lost him years ago, I realized that part of my life has a huge vacuum which needs to be replaced. But then again, there's a sorrow, there's a quote, it's a wonderful thing, and that's my perspective on it. I learned my mind. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Thought. I truly appreciate your perspectives, and a lot of the time we know the value of what we had once we lose it. And I just pray and hope that you're going to cultivate some of the things you learned during your time with your brother. And I just appreciate you for making the time to join us today. I also just want to welcome everyone who just joined us in the last few minutes. Shias and Dorikas, thank you for joining us and making the time for today's session. We are discussing an African proverb and dissecting it and learning from it. We are learning about the power of friendships today. Every day when we gather here in the African Father in America Club, which is also the African Father in America podcast, we bring conversations that were heard before by our ancestors, and we are hoping that we can also be good ancestors and make these conversations available for our children. So today we are taking this proverb from Madagascar that says sorrow is like a precious treasure shown only to friends, and dissecting it further and sharing our perspectives on it. I came with six takeaways from this proverb that I shared at the beginning of the conversation. I will be sharing them at the end of the conversation as well. At this moment, I want to invite Sika to just share your perspectives, please, and let us know where you are joining us from, and also what this proverb means to you. What does it bring to your mind?
All right, thank you, Simon. My name is Henry Magino by screen name Sika. Sika is only my middle name. I'm a Ghanaian, but I live in the UK. I try and make it brief because it's still within my working hours. So, but I just got a few minutes now, so I can. So in terms of the proverb, how friendship impacts our lives. The soul is like a precious treasure, only shown to friends. And what it brings to me is who your true friends are when you need help or you are in need. That's what it brings to my mind. And when you were sharing, you made mention of friendship being a two-way street, and a thought just occurred to me saying sometimes you consider some people friends or you consider people in your life friends, but they might not necessarily consider you as a friend. Having said that, you deem them as friends. So if you go expecting to give them something, and you what you're offering that relationship, you're expecting something back, you might be disappointed when that occurs. When you consider them friends, but they don't consider you as friends. So it's important that you approach this from your own perspective when what you are offering to the friendship, what you are, it's not because you want something back. Then your expectation or your, if there is anything, for instance, in terms of disappointment, then that will be limited because you go in knowing this is what I want to offer this relationship. So I wouldn't even settle with just friendship. I would say relationship. Like from you talk about a parent and a child. So a relationship of all sorts. And so I'm conscious of the early contributors, and I think William spoke about God, spoke about his love and the relationship we have with them. Stella and Stephen made something similar, so it's important for us to consider relationship in total. And those that would stick around, those that would see into your soul, those that would share in your pain and share in your joy, are those that really, really are committed to you and are committed. They have you at heart. The people that would not necessarily would not on that journey with you are people who are superficial, who are there for a reason or the other. That's why when something happens to you and I, they walk away. But those that are into the relationship, and I think you use the word cultivate. It can be cultivated, but the people involved in that relationship has to be willing and has to be selfless. But once we are in that space, when we are selfless, we are committed, we are not expecting anything back, but we are doing what we are doing because we want to, then I think we have true friendship. And to such a one, I'll be happy to share my sorrows with, I'll be happy to share my highs with, and hopefully they can enjoy with me, and they can be around to help me and give me that helping hand, because sometimes when we are at our lowest, we need another to bring us back on course and on track again. And with that, the mic is back to the room. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, my brother Henry, for sharing with us your perspectives. It's true that sometimes we need our friends to lift us up when we are at our lowest moments. And I just want to welcome Yoftahe and Flamingo to the stage. And I also want to welcome Lakeli, who just joined us in the room. And I want to invite everyone who is with us on Clubhouse, please take a moment, share this conversation. You can clip it, share it on Twitter. You can share it across other social media platforms. I just want to see the shares increase to about 20. We are currently at 17, and we have 17 people in the room, so we can easily get the shares to 17. And also, I want you all to take a moment and follow the African Father in America Club on Clubhouse. If you are already following that club, please nominate a couple of people to join us. That's where we have this daily African proverbs every Monday to Friday. And also this is where we are planning, we are instigating Africa Day. This is where we instigate Africa Day planning and execution. Remember, during the daily African proverbs last year is where the idea of doing Africa Day on Clubhouse was muted. And this is also where we mobilize the African community worldwide to join us for Africa Day. We did it last year with over 10,000 people attending. And this year we are going to do it even bigger. It's another 24-hour marathon where we will have more than 24 different panel discussions. We have topics that are ranging from the African experience in Asia, how African people in Asia are adjusting to the diet there, and also how they're introducing African food there. We'll talk about sounds of African cooking. We'll have people who are cooking in real life, sharing those sounds with us during Africa Day. We will have poetry, we will have musical performances, African spirituality. All of these are because the theme for Africa Day this year is sustaining a healthy Africa. That's the theme for Africa Day 2022. So join us, follow Yoftahe and myself, and let us know if you want this custom made Africa Day profile so that we can hook you up and we can together spread the word about Africa Day 2022. So for now, I'll go all the way to Roger. Roger, how are you doing? Where are you joining us from? And what are your thoughts on this amazing proverb from Madagascar? It says, sorrow is like a precious treasure shown only to friends.
Hi, Simon. Hi, everyone on stage and in the audience. I am connecting from Singapore in Southeast Asia. And today's proverb reminds me of an experience I had in my youth. I think I was 30 years old at that time. So, the mother of one of my friends had passed away. And in Chinese culture, what happens then is that the family of the deceased has to hold a 48-hour vigil over the body. I'm not sure if this happens anywhere else in the world, um, followed by cremation on the third day. So, the thing is, I was not just this guy's friend. Okay, I actually liked his mom. She was always very nice to me. So, when my friend told me that he was having trouble organizing the schedule for the vigil because his wife was pregnant at the time, couldn't really, stay up, things like that, I took leave and I went down and said, I'll cover this time, the full 12 hours for this day. And so I did. I went down. My shift started from 9 and it would end at 9 p.m. 9 a.m. the next day. And halfway through, my friend came downstairs. He couldn't sleep, started talking about his mom, started crying, shedding tears. And, it made me deeply uncomfortable. I was like, why is this grown ass man crying in front of me? But years later, after having heard this one, yeah, I think I understand. The way I expressed my friendship was to take leave and spend that time. The way he was expressing his friendship was to display his sorrow. Like Steven said earlier, maybe the way he was expressing his friendship was to give me the keys to his armory. Yeah, that's all I have. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Roger. I've missed listening to your voice, and I loved your perspective on this. And it's not every day that you can see a grown-ass man crying. So that guy probably trusted you a lot, and you definitely trusted him and showed up for him as a true friend. Thank you again so much. If you're just joining us, we are talking about the power of friendship, and we are using this proverb from Madagascar to ground ourselves on our conversation today. It says, sorrow is like a precious treasure shown only to friends. My brother Yoftahe, how are you doing? Speak to us about your perspective on this proverb, where you are joining us from, and also speak about Africa Day briefly. Thank you so much.
Greetings. Thank you, Simon. I am Yoftahe from Boston, Massachusetts. That's where I am. This proverb, I really like it because the first thing whenever I hear any proverb, especially African proverbs, instead of defining someone else, this looks like how we choose friends. But what kind of friend am I to any of my friends, family members? Because friendship is a choice. Family is given by default. We don't choose it. We just happen to be born, and that's what we have to work on. But friendship is something that we have to choose, and we can choose properly or the wrong way. So before I say what kind of friends that I have, because when we talk about sorrow, I mean, anybody can be our friends. When we have money, we are famous, everybody around us can be our friend. But when we go through sorrow, during our weakness, that's when really we identify our friends. So before I identify that, what I have to do is look at myself in a mirror and say, what kind of friend am I? because who I am, who's I attract. We all know about the law of attraction, how I define myself. So would I be, the question I want to ask, and I challenge all of us, would I be a friend to myself? If I had to pick me, would I be that person? So uh, not only to share sorrow, but through any kind of struggle that we go through, we have to be vulnerable. And none of us are perfect, especially nowadays. Everything seems to be there where we have to pretend being perfect, but we all know deep down we all have struggles. Those struggles are the ones that we have to share with friends. We all know right now, if we sit down and said, in your time of need, who do you call? If you could not list one person, the first thing I would do is look at myself and say, why am I in this kind of position that I don't have, and I was not able to build that kind of friendship? So I want to look at it and ask myself, who am I attracting? Who am I being? And what kind of friend have I been to anybody that has come to my life? So I want to be able to give before I receive. So I want to put my position all the time to be in a position of giving. And when we give, we will receive abundantly. So that's how I understand this friendship as a choice at the end of the day. And for Africa Day, this is the time that second year we're going to be celebrating. Last year we had 24-hour run of a marathon, and this year it's going to be repeated on May 25th. So just Simon was saying, as Africans, when we come in, especially I appreciate Simon so much whenever he's doing these rooms, these proverbs. This is where we tell our stories. This is where we connect. He does bring so many proverbs from each country in the continent to be able to speak to us, because that's how most of us learn growing up, from our grandparents, from parents, passing down by telling stories. And these proverbs are where we get built. This is where we define ourselves, and then we question who we are and how we become as a man or as a woman. So as Africans, most of the time we have been looking outward, thinking that Western world is coming to save us because of Hollywood or other things, colonialization, everything. We can talk about all those blaming factors, but Africa Day and the kind of proverb, this kind of room that Simon is running, is going to be a place where we question ourselves. What am I contributing? What am I as an African standing up? What kind of ambassador am I to Africa? What do I give back? Because each of us in here have something to give back. So what we're asking all of you in here who's listening as a guest or as speakers, what can I contribute? We have amazing guests already lined up, and we also have amazing topics that we already picked. So we will be able to post it, share, contact Simon, myself, Lavender, anybody that you see in here that's going to be able to follow through. What can I contribute to Africa? Because we always talk about the problems. We cannot point out as many problems as possible, but we forget that we are the solution. We can be that solution. Nobody else has to come and save us. We can be part of it. So without saying too long, I just want to say, in here, it's our room, and here is our Africanism, and here is our manhood, womanhood that being questioned, and we have the power to make that narrative. We can flip the script. Each and every one of us in here can rewrite the script that we don't like about Africa. We have the power to change it, but it starts with each and one of us in here when we walk out from this kind of room and saying, what am I contributing? What can I adding? So please make Africa Day our day, your day. Reach out to us and tell us how you can participate in each of the rooms that we will be running on May 25th. Simon, back to you, my brother.
Thank you very much, Yoftahe. I am grateful for your perspectives and also your information about Africa Day. Flamingo, how are you? It's been a minute. I hope all is well. Share with us your thoughts also on this proverb from Madagascar, and share with us where you're joining us from as well. Thank you so much.
Peace and blessings, everybody. I'm joining you all from Washington, D.C. Thank you for creating this space, Simon. I missed the beginning of the conversation, but I loved what I heard so far with Roger and Yaftahi. I'm just so grateful that you guys are talking about this because I have had a couple of friends who lost their parents, and this is a very difficult time for them. And I think um, growing up in the West, we don't really learn how to support people going through difficult times. In I'm originally from Somalia. We the culture in Somalia, like a lot of African countries, there are traditions and cultural practices. You know, the entire community comes together to support you. But growing up here in the West, it seems like everybody's so busy and have schedules. So I really appreciate what Roger said about taking time off his work to support his friend and hold that vigil. I haven't even heard of things like that happening here in the US where somebody would take their leave from work to support a friend. We do that for our family members, right? If there's a death in the family, but to do that for a friend, that is such a paradigm shift for me right now. And I'm glad that Roger talked about that. And I will definitely, you know, try to do that in the future because I've had a couple of friends who lost parents during the COVID pandemic, and it was so hard because of the lockdown. It's just been I have I was lost. Like I didn't know what to say or do. So having this conversation gives me a little bit of clarity in terms of what kind of friend I want to be for others. And I loved what Yofta said about, you know, what kind of friend are you to people? First, be the person you're looking for, right? Be that supportive person, be vulnerable. When I was going through my own struggles, I remember a couple of friends of mine saying to me, "You're not as fun as you used to be," you know? And that's the last thing you want to hear. Like, yes, I was a fun, outgoing person and I always had ideas of things to do. But then when I was going through my sorrow, you know, they didn't know the kind of person I was in that situation. And perhaps it was my um, lack of openness and vulnerability that they were not able to recognize this situation. And I think that Brene Brown talks about this, about the power of vulnerability and opening up about the struggles and the sorrows we go through so that people can know the different stages of life that we are going through ourselves, right? We're not always perfect. And in the West, unfortunately, that's what we convey. But I really appreciate this conversation. And I have a lot to think about so far, what I heard, and I loved it. And I'm handing over the mic. Thank you.
Thank you, Flamingo. I totally appreciate, your thoughts, your perspectives, your how you tied in Roger's actions and your Tahe's perspectives. Truly appreciate it. Jay, how are you doing? How was your weekend? Where are you joining us from? And what are your perspectives on this beautiful Madagascar proverb?
Good morning, dear brother, and everyone in the room. And I'm joining you from Seattle, Washington. And I've had a lovely weekend. I appreciate that you're asking. Flamingo, thank you so much for saying that there was a situation where you were feeling really sad or vulnerable, and the response of your friends, because I've heard that before myself, and I understood, because that was my nature at one point. I understood where that was coming from because they don't know how to approach that part of you, something that they hadn't been exposed to before or experienced before, or they didn't have the maturity to know how to deal with it. And it's this proverb reminded me of a scripture, not to cast your pearls before swine. So you have to, with your treasure, when you're at your most vulnerable state, when you're just really, really sad, You truly need someone who can be there in a mature way and who knows you and cares deeply about you. It's not, which has been mentioned a few times, it's not superficial, it's not surface level, it's not just during the fun times. They're there for you through the good, the bad, the ugly, the challenging, the difficult times. And it's the most beautiful thing. Someone mentioned that your family's your family. I mean, but your friends are people that you choose. They're very special to you to have in your life, and to have someone who understands your pain and they're there for you in your moments of sadness and sorrow as encouragement and as support. A sounding board is invaluable. It is a treasure that you don't want to take for granted. And I totally agree that you need to be the same type of person for them, the type of friends you want pouring into you in every stage and moment and situation and circumstance in your life. You do have to take that time, no matter how busy you believe you are, take that time to be that same type of individual and friend and confidant to them. This is Jane. I'm done speaking. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jay. I agree. I agree with what you're saying in regards to, be the friend that you want others to be for you. That's something that I also have to cultivate and learn how to become. Doricas, how are you doing? And what are your perspectives on today's proverb from Madagascar? It says, sorrow is like a precious treasure shown only to friends. Also share with us where you're joining us from. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Doricas and I'm joining you from Tanzania, East Africa. Well, I resonate with what Yoftai was saying about choosing friends and being a friend to someone. I also would like to say that I found something somewhere stating that friendship is a voluntary institution. So when you're friends with someone or you are a friend to someone, it means you chose to be in that particular institution willingly. So yeah, and I also resonate with what Flamingo was saying about sadness and going through the COVID pandemic. I recall a friend of mine who lost both parents consecutively. Within 2 days, she lost both parents to COVID. So during that time, I learned to be a friend, and I learned to, how should I say this? So I learned to be a friend during that moment. And I also learned that you could be a friend to someone, but they don't see you as their friend too. So yeah, that's my take.
Wow, thank you, Doricas. I just appreciate you being here and sharing your perspectives, and also sharing just the value of being a friend without expecting anything from that friendship. I think it's really, really liberating just being there for someone and not expecting anything from them. But I also just want to recognize how the COVID pandemic showed us who our friends are really, and the kind of losses that you are both speaking to, losing two parents in less than 2 days. That's a lot of loss there, and it's only your friends that can actually keep you going during that type of a situation, and also long after. It's only your friends that were there with you during those moments that you can remember. So today has been amazing. I want to recognize Lord Muenda, who has just joined us. Thank you for making the time. And Sambaza podcast, thank you for joining us. Tracy and Petra and Lakeni, thank you all for being here with us. I would love to invite everyone who is listening to today's conversation to save the date for May 25th. We are having Africa Day here on Clubhouse. It's going to be a 24-hour marathon, and we don't want any one of you to miss it. If you want to get these custom-made profile pictures for Africa Day, just send me a direct message or send Yoftahe a direct message on Instagram, and we will be able to help you. We are looking for speakers, we are looking for volunteers, and we are also looking for moderators. We almost have enough moderators for the entire Africa Day celebration. So primarily speakers and volunteers, and we have amazing topics that are already outlined. We can share with you the program once you send us a direct message. Back to today's conversation that was centered around this Madagascar proverb: sorrow is like a precious treasure shown only to friends. We learned so much from everyone that was in the room here today, and also on Clubhouse we learned a lot. For example, Fred, who is with us on Clubhouse, said that friends, how many of us have them? And he also said friendship is essential to the soul, a creed of Omega Psi Phi. And then he also said friendship is sharing your frequency with someone. I just wanted to make sure he knows that we got his comment. But now I want to share the 6 takeaways that we began our conversation with today. These are the 6 things you can take away from our conversation around the power of friendship. And again, it's grounded on this Madagascar proverb: sorrow is like a precious treasure shown only to friends. Number 1, friends can make you happier and healthier. Number 2, friends can help you through tough times. Number 3, friends are always there for you. Number 4, friends can make you smarter. And then 5, friendship is a two-way street. And then finally, friendships are worth the effort. Now, I explained some of these things in depth at the beginning of the room. If you missed it, please listen to the replay on Clubhouse or watch the entire video on YouTube. And also, you can listen to this on any podcasting platform. Thank you again, and this marks the end of our time today together. I do see Shads joined us. It's been a minute, Shads. I hope everything is okay with you. And I also see Bibi has joined us. Thank you so much for being here with us. See you all tomorrow at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Our guest is Jamaica's poet laureate. Her name is Natalie Kotesi. She's going to be our guest tomorrow. She'll also be speaking at Africa Day, so don't miss it. With that, I am grateful, and I'm really, really grateful.
African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okelo, live from Seattle, Washington.